Everyone, welcome to Maths and Science Intervention Club. My name is Mr. Nkuna. Today we're going to be doing the grade 8 mathematics paper 1 revision. We will be doing the full question paper for the November examination for the grade 8 learners. Now, first things first, when we receive a paper, we are going to see the cover page, Ekurhuleni North District, subject mathematics. It is a November exam, time allocation 1.5 hours for 60 marks. On the cover page, since it is a write-on question paper, it means we are required to write our respective names. So I'm going to write my name, Mr. Nkona. Then after, I will be writing the grade that I belong to, grade 8H. Now on the cover page, we have question number and the total marks for each and every question. For example, question 1, it is allocated with 5 marks, and question 8, it is allocated with 16 marks. In total, the paper consists of 60 marks. Now we are going to go to the next page, whereby we are going to see the instructions. Read the instructions carefully. Then after, we are going to see our section. Now, section A, it is a multiple choice question. Now, we are going to read the statement that is written over there. Choose the correct answer. Circle the letter of the correct answer on the answer sheet that is provided in page 4. If you want to change your choice, put a cross through the wrong letter and circle your new choice. Right. Now, let us look at 1.1. The difference when E is subtracted from F. What does it mean? We have two variables. We have E and F. But then here they're saying when E is subtracted from F, meaning we are subtracting E from F, meaning I have to start with F, then I subtract E from F, because they're saying the difference means what is the difference between E and F? But then here when we read the statement, it says when E is subtracted from, meaning we are subtracting E from F. Therefore, the correct option for the first question 1.1, the answer is going to become B. Now, we are going to go to 1.2. Which comparison is incorrect? Meaning, out of the 4 options that are here, which one is incorrect? Now, we have 3 to the power of negative 2. What does it mean? 3 to the power of negative 2, it means 1 over 9 less than 25, right? Because 5 to the power of 2, it is 25. Is 1 over 9 less than 25? Yes. Therefore, this statement, it is correct. Now, 1.1, it is correct. Then we are going to B, letter B. Negative 3 to the power of 2. Obviously, if this particular number here, it is negative, meaning I'm going to have negative 9 is less than 25. Is negative 9 less than 25? Yes, negative 9 is less than 25. Therefore, the answer here is going to be, it is correct. This statement, it is correct. Then we are going to go to letter C. 3 squared, it is less than negative 5 squared. 3 squared, what is 3 squared? 3 squared, it is 9. Is 9 less than negative 25? No, that is not correct, because this particular negative 25, it is already negative. Therefore, a negative number cannot be greater than a positive number. Therefore, this statement for letter C, it is the one that is incorrect. Therefore, here I have an incorrect option, meaning we're going to our question. It said which comparison is incorrect. Therefore, the answer here is going to become letter C. Then let us go to 1.3. Calculate. Now, if we want, we can use a calculator, or if you don't want, we can simply work out this calculation over here. I have 117 minus 36. I know that divide, another way to write it, divide, it is me opening. I'm writing that line over there, divide by 9, multiply by 2. Therefore, these are the same. They are the same. Now, what does it mean here? I'm going to look at the properties of both mass. The properties of both mass, it means I should deal with the bracket first before I can add, subtract, divide or multiply. The first thing that I have to do, deal with the bracket. So here I see a bracket, right? Therefore, it means what is 9 multiplied by 2? That is going to become what? 18. Therefore, it means here, instead of writing 9 multiplied by 2, I can substitute 18. Now, what is 36 divided by 18? 36 divided by 18, it is 2. Therefore, it means 117 minus 2. The answer will become 115. Then I'm going to look, where do I see my 115? It is option D, meaning for my 1.3, the answer is going to become option D. Now, 1.4, the lowest common multiple and the highest common factor of 120 and 180 are. Now, I'm going to write the multiples of 120. It's going to start with 120, 240, 360. Now I'm going to do the multiples of 180. I'm going to start with 180. Then after 180, I'll have 360. Now I'm going to see that 360, it is the number that appeared on both multiples first. Therefore, it means the common multiple for 120 and 180, it is automatically 360. Therefore, here, I see my 360 here, meaning the answer for 1.4, it should have 360 in it. Now, let us look at the highest common factor. Highest common factor means look for a number, the biggest number that can go into 120 and 180 without leaving a remainder. Obviously, 60 can go into 120 and 60 can go into 180 as the biggest number without leaving a remainder. Therefore, the answer for option for 1.4, it has to be option C. Now let us go to 1.5. 1.5, choose the correct statement that applies to the flow diagram. Meaning here I have my input values. Here I have my output values, and here I have my rule. So what should the rule be so that when I substitute my input values, I will obtain my output values? Let us look at the first option. We have y, it is equals to 3, open bracket, minus 3. Meaning for every input value that I substitute here, it should give me the respective output value. Now my first input value, it is 3, right? It means when I substitute 3 on the input value, what should my output value be? Because 3 corresponds with 6, meaning my output value, it has to be 6. So what is 3 multiplied by 3? I'm going to have 9 minus 3, I'm going to have 6. So far, this rule, the first one, option A, it is correct. Now, let me see if I substitute the second input value, am I going to get 9? It means on the rule, when I substitute the input value of 4, the output value, it has to be 9. So wherever I see X, I'm going to substitute 4. I'm going to substitute 4 here. I'm going to have 12 minus 3. And what is 12 minus 3? 9. Therefore, the first option, it is still correct. Now, let me confirm with the last one, which is positive 6. Now, let me substitute 6 here. What is 6 multiplied by 3? It is going to be 18. 18 minus 3, I'm going to get 15. Meaning the option or the correct rule for my flow diagram, it has to be option A. But then when we go back to our statement, it says provide the answers on the answer sheet. It means I should not circle on the options here, but rather I should circle my answers here on the answer sheet that is provided here. Now I will go back. For 1.1, what was our answer? It was letter B. It means I'm going to come here, then I circle B as my option. Then for 1.2, what was my option? It was C, meaning I'm going to go to this paper, circle option C. Then for 1.3, what was our answer? Option D, meaning here I'll come back and circle option D. Then for 1.4, our answer, it was option C. And for 1.5, our answer was option A, meaning here I'm going to circle option C, then I circle option A. Now this is how we mark. Since it is out of 5 marks, meaning each and every correct answer, you're gonna receive a mark. Therefore, I'm going to have 1 mark this side, 1 mark there, 1 mark here, 1 mark here, and 1 mark here. Therefore, in total, we've obtained our 5 marks. Now let us go to the next question, which is section B, whole numbers and relationships. Numbers, operations, and relationships. Whole numbers. A jar has sweets which are either yellow or green. So we have a jar. Let me just say I have a jar. This one, it has sweets. Those sweets are either yellow or green. Therefore, I'm going to look for yellow sweets. Let me just come here. There are sweets here that are yellow or green. I'll have yellow sweets. Then let me look for green sweets. I'll have green sweets. right? That is a jar. It consists of such sweets. A jar has sweets which are either yellow or green. For every 4 yellow sweets, there are 3 green ones. Meaning in this jar, for every 4 of the sweets being yellow, you are going to receive 3 of the sweets being green, right? Meaning if the sweets are the ratio between the yellow and green, I'm going to say, look for the ratio. I'll have yellow this side, I'll have green this side, right? The ratio is that for every 4 yellow sweets, there are 3 of the green ones, meaning the ratio is going to be 4:3. That is the ratio between the sweets. But then the question here, it says there are 16 yellow sweets. Therefore, if there are 16 yellow sweets, how many green sweets are we going to have? So from 4 of these yellow sweets, you have 3 of the green sweets. But then if you have 16 of the yellow sweets, how many green sweets are we going to have? So from 4 to 16, what did I do? I multiplied 4 by 4. Therefore, I got the 16. Meaning from 3 to the number of sweets that I should have, it means even here I have to multiply by 4. It means here I'm going to have 12. Meaning if the yellow seeds are 4, I'm going to have 3 of the green ones. But then if the yellow seeds are 16, I'm going to have 12 of the green ones. That is the ratio. We are looking for the ratio between our sweets. Now let us go to 2.2. A bed costs 14,500. Ayanda buys the bed on a hire purchase agreement. A deposit of 500 is paid, and the rest is paid over a period of 3 years at an interest of 40% per annum. Meaning, this particular person, he or she, Ayanda, let me just say she. Ayanda bought a bed, right? So we have a bed this side. So she bought a bed, right? This bed cost 14,500. But then she does not have the 14,500 cash, right? But then she decides to pay it on a hire purchase agreement. But then before she takes this bed, the first thing that she did, she paid a deposit of 500, meaning the amount of money that Ayanda paid, the first one, it was 500, right? That is the first amount of money that Ayanda paid. Now the question says, calculate the total amount that Ayanda will pay. If Ayanda had 14,500 cash, the total amount that she was going to pay, it was going to be 14,500. But then she did not have this 14,500 cash, but then she paid it as a hire purchase agreement, meaning the amount of money that she's going to pay for the bed will automatically be more than 14,500. And how do we find that amount? So we are going to look for the total amount that she's going to pay for the bed. The first amount, it is 500 plus. Now, if she paid 500, how much is it that is left? Meaning I'm going to say 14,500 minus 500. The amount of money that is left, it is 14,000. Now, this 14,000, she's going to pay it over a period of 3 years with its own interest, which is how much? Which is 40%. Meaning I'm going to say 14,000 multiplied by 40%. I'm going to write 40%. 40% is the same as 0.4, or 40% is the same as 40 divided by 100, right? Now, what is 14,000 multiplied by 40%? It is going to be 5,600. It's going to become 5,600. Meaning this particular person, Ayanda, each and every year, she was paying 5,600 in total for the 14,000 amount that she's owing for the bed. But then it was in a period of 3 years, meaning this particular 5,600 I'll have to multiply by 3, meaning in total she paid 16,800 for the bed. But then that is not the total amount. This is the interest that she paid for the bed, meaning the total amount that she's going to pay for the bed is going to be the 500 first for the deposit plus the 14,000 that she owed, because she still has to pay this 14,000 plus the interest over the period of 3 years, meaning it's going to be 5,600 for year 1, 5,600 for year 2, and 5,600 for year 3. Therefore, in total for this particular bed, she paid what is 500 plus 14,000 plus 5,600 for the interest for a year, plus 5,600 for the interest for a year, plus 5,600 for the interest for the year. Therefore, the total amount that she paid for this bed, it became 31,000 300. That is the amount of money that she paid for the bed. Now, if we were to compare, we can see that she paid almost twice the amount, from 14,500 to 31,000. That is a lot of money. Now, let us go to question 3, integers. The following number line is provided. Which letter represents negative 56? Obviously, we have a number line. Here we have our 0, meaning going that side, we're going to have positive numbers. Going that side, we're going to have negative numbers. So here we are being told it is 0, here it is 50, and here we have the value of 100. Obviously, here we have our 50. Obviously, if here we have 100, our 56, it is roughly going to be found here. Which letter represents negative 56? That letter is going to be letter C. Now, 3.2, simplify the following, show all the workings. Now, I have negative 3 multiplied by negative 9. Obviously, negative multiplied by negative, the answer will become positive. Therefore, what is 3 multiplied by 9? The answer becomes positive 27. Then we have 3.2.2. It says we are simplifying by showing the workings, right? I have 10 minus the cube root of negative 125. Now, I said whenever we are dealing with the cube root, the number that is inside that cube root here, you're going to say 125 equals to, then you press shift, then you press fact on a calculator, right? Therefore, what is 125 equals to shift fact? It is the same as 5 to the power of 5 to the power of 3. Therefore, instead of rewriting 125, I'm going to say 10 minus the cube root of negative 5 to the power of 3. Now, in a cube root, we are dividing. Therefore, this number and that number over there, they are going to divide each other. Meaning, I'm going to have 10 minus. Now, if they are dividing each other, the cube root is going to disappear. Therefore, the 5 to the power of 3 divided by 3, which is going to be 10. There's a negative here. It's going to be 10 minus negative 5. Now, what is 10 minus negative 5? This is the same as 10 plus 5, because negative, it forms a positive. Therefore, it's 10 plus 5. The answer becomes 15 without using a calculator. Now, let us go to question 4. Common and decimal fraction. Simplify the following, show all the workings. Now, if they say show all the workings, it doesn't necessarily mean you are not allowed to use a calculator. You can use a calculator, but then you have to be strategic when you are using that particular calculator. You don't have to take everything, then you punch it on a calculator, then you find the final answer. No. Solve separately. Solve your terms individually. Now, what is 3,02 multiplied by 1,6? Now, what is 3,02 multiplied by 1,6? The answer is going to become 4,832 minus, obviously I'm going to take this term that is over here, 4,879. Then after, now you can use a calculator. What is 4,832 minus 4,879? Our answer will become negative 0,047. Then we are done. But then if you took and wrote your answer like this, you are going to receive your 1 mark because you did not show your workings. But then if you show the workings by dealing with each and every term individually, then you are going to receive your 2 marks, just like that. Now, calculate the percentage increase if the price of the petrol goes up from 24 rand, 54 a liter to 25 rands, 68 per liter. Obviously, initially the price of the petrol was 24 rands 54, but then it increased to 25,68. How many percent did it increase with? Find the difference. How many rands did it increase with? So the price was from 24 rands, but then now it is 25 rands. Now how many cents or rands did it increase with? I'm going to say 25,68 minus 24,54. Therefore, I'm going to see that this particular petrol price, it increased by 1 rand 14 cents. But then here, that is not the question. It did not say how many rands did the petrol increase with, but then it said the percentage increase. Therefore, you're going to take the number that the price increased with, which is 1,14. Then you're going to divide it by the initial price of the petrol, which is 24 rand 24 and 54, right? Then you multiply it by 100 because we are dealing with the percentage. You multiply it by 100. Now what is 1,14 divided by 24,54 multiply by 100, which is going to give us an answer of 4,68%, meaning the petrol, it increased by 4,68%. Now it means you're going to get a mark for finding the difference that the petrol price increased with. Then you're gonna get a mark by doing the percentage form by multiplying by 100. Then you're gonna get a mark for the final answer, which is 3 marks. Now 4.3, 12 friends are sharing a cake, meaning we have 12 people, they are sharing a cake. The cake, it is made, or it is cut into 30 pieces. So we have a piece of cake here, which is like this, right? Now this piece of cake, it has been cut into 30 pieces, right? Like 30 slices, 30 of the slices. But then the friends are 12, we should remember that. Now 4 friends eat 1.5 piece each. What does it mean? So out of the 30 slices that are here, or out of the 30 pieces that are here, 4, they ate 1.5 piece each. And 3 friends, they ate 1.75 piece each. And the rest ate 1.3 piece each. What is the fraction of the cake that is left over? Meaning we have to find the number of slices that were 8 in total. Then in total we have 30 slices. Then we have to find the number of those that were 8. Then we can find the number of those that are remaining, or the ones that were not eaten. And how do we find that? This is what we're gonna do. It says 4 friends, they ate 1.5 piece each, meaning we're gonna take this 1, we're going to say 4 multiplied by 1.5, right? Because it says 4 each, meaning each and every person, each out of the 4 friends, they ate 1.5. Therefore, I'm going to say 4 multiplied by 1.5 plus, I'm going to find, they say 3 friends, they ate 1.75, meaning I'm going to say 3 multiplied by 1.75 because they said each. Then the rest, they ate 1.3. So there are 12 friends. This already we have used 4 of the friends and 3 of the friends. Out of 12 friends, then we have used 4 and 3. How many are left? Which is the rest? Therefore, I'm going to say 12 minus 3 minus 4. Then what is 12 minus 3 minus 4 is the same as 12 minus 7, which is what? 5. Meaning the rest, it represents 5 of the people. If I'm going to find the number of slices that 5 of the remaining friends they ate, therefore I'm going to say 5 multiplied by 1.3. Now I'm going to find the total for them. Now what is 4 multiplied by 1.5? That is 6 plus. What is 3 multiplied by 1.75? That is 5.25 plus. What is 5 multiplied by 1.3? 5 multiplied by 1.3, that is the same as me saying 5 multiplied by 4 over 3, right? Therefore in total I'm going to see 6 plus what is 4 multiplied by 5? That is 20 plus 1, 21 over 4 plus. Here I'm going to have 20 over 3 because I'll have the 4 multiplying the 5 divided by 3. Therefore, let me just punch everything in total. We are going to add everything in total. What is 6 plus 21 over 4 plus 20 over 3? We can punch with the use of a calculator, which is going to be 17 11 over 12, right? Now this is the number of, or this is the amount of slices that were eaten. Therefore, what is 17 11 over 12? Therefore, in total we had 30 of the slices, but then these are the ones that were eaten, right? Therefore, we should find the number of slices that are left over. Therefore, I'm going to say 30 minus the number of slices that were eaten, which is 17 11 over 12. Now, what is 30 minus 17 11 over 12? I'm going to say 30 minus 17 11 over 12, meaning the number of slices that are left here is 12,083. Those are the number of slices that are left from the cake that was eaten by the 12 friends. Now let us go to question 5. Question 5, it says exponents. State whether each of the following statement is true or false. Now the first one, here you have to write true or you have to write false. Now starting with the first one, obviously we know if this number is even, right, and whatever that is here is negative, meaning this particular part will become positive. Therefore I have positive 81 over 4, which is the same as negative 81 over 4. Are these the same? Here is positive, there it's negative. Are they the same? No. Therefore the answer for this one will become false, right? Then here obviously this number, there's no sign that is here, meaning this part I'm going to have negative 81 over 4, and that side I'll still have negative 81 over 4. Is the left hand side and the right hand side the same? Therefore the answer for this part will become true. Then after, we're going to receive our 2 marks. Now let us go to simplify the following, show all the workings. Now we are required to simplify this particular expression, right? And for us to simplify that, we are going to start with whatever that is inside the square root. Inside the square root, I have 36 plus 64. What is 36 plus 64? I'm going to have the square root of 100 plus. This number that is here, it is odd, right? If it is odd, meaning whatever that is here, it will become negative again. Meaning instead of having a plus sign, I'll have negative 30 to the power of 3 minus any number to the power of 0. It is 1. Therefore, I'll have minus 1 over there. Now, what is the square root of 100? The answer will become 10 minus what is 3 to the power of 3? It is going to become 27 minus 1. Therefore, it means what is 10 minus 27 minus 1? Therefore, the final answer here, I'm going to have negative 18, which is going to be our final answer for that. So you are going to get a mark for getting whatever that is inside the square root, right? For finding the square root of 27, then we are going to get the number for us to show that any number to the power of 0, it is 1. Then we're going to get the mark for the final answer, which is negative 18. Now we are going to go to section C, which is pattern, functions, and algebra, numeric and geometric patterns, right? In the number pattern below, the third term is an algebraic expression. So when we are given a number pattern, the first thing that we have to do is establish the relationship between two consecutive terms, right? What is the difference? What is the difference between the first term, the second term, the third term, and the fourth term? Or what is the ratio between the first term and the second term, the third term and the fourth term, if it was a geometric pattern? But then when you look at this pattern, we're going to start with the difference. By looking here, what is the difference between 13 and 9? Means I'm going to say 13 minus 9 is going to become 4. What is the difference between T3 and T2? I do not know the difference. And what is the difference between T? But then when I look at this pattern here, I'm going to see that if I were to do something like this, I have 9, I have 13, I have a number here, I have 21. But then if I were to put 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 over here. Let me just put 17 over there. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. I was going to see that I have a constant common difference of what? Of 4. That is the difference between two consecutive terms, which is 4. Therefore, I can conclude that this pattern that is given over here, it is an arithmetic pattern, which is having a same difference, which is the same throughout. Therefore, here I was going to say that whatever that is here, which is 3 divided by 4x plus 5, it should actually be 17. Therefore, it means I have to say 3 divided by 4 multiplied by x plus 5. It should be equals to 17 because it is position number 3, and in position number 3, I was supposed to have what? I was supposed to have 17, meaning now I can find the value of x. What is the numeric value for the variable of x, meaning I have to find the value of x. Now I'm going to do algebraic equations. I'm solving for x. Now this particular 5, it is a number. This 17, it is a number. When we are dealing with algebra, we have to group our numbers together, group our like terms together. Therefore, this 5 and this 17, they are like terms, meaning I'm going to have 3 divided by 4, x, which is the same as 17, minus 5, because the 5, it is positive. This side, it is positive, but then if it goes there, it will become negative. Now, I will have 3 over 4, x, which is equal to, what is 17 minus 5? It is 12. Now, I'm looking for the value of x. But then here, I'm going to see that there's a number here, which is 4. And this 4, it is dividing. So when we are dealing with algebraic equation, we are doing the inverse operation of whatever that is over there. Therefore, here I am dividing. Now, what is the inverse operation of division? It is multiplication. Therefore, it means I'm going to multiply both sides by 4, multiply both sides by 4. Therefore, if I multiply both sides by 4, 4 and 4, is the same as 4 divided by 4, which is going to give us 1. Therefore, it means I'm going to have 3x. It is equals to, what is 12 multiplied by 4, which is going to give us 48. Now, also, I'll ask myself, what is the inverse operation of multiplication? Because 3 and x, they are multiplying. The inverse operation of multiplication, it is division, meaning I'll have to divide this side, both sides, by 3. Therefore, I'm going to divide by 3, 3 and 3. I'll be left with x. Therefore, the x value will become, what is 48? Divided by 3. Therefore, the value of x, it has to be what? It has to be 48 divided by 3. The value of x, it has to be 16, meaning the value of x, it has to be 16. Now we are going to get our answer for knowing that the third term in our numeric sequence or numeric pattern, it has to be 17, because we know that in a numeric arithmetic sequence, the difference is the same throughout. Once you establish the difference between two consecutive terms, meaning you can also say the rule in which start at 9, add 4 from 9 to get 13, continue adding 4 from the previous number to obtain the next consecutive term. So we started at 9, we added 4, we get 13. We are at 13, we added 4, we're going to get 17. We are at 17, we are going to get 4, meaning the next number, it has to be 21. Then after, we can solve for x by using the inverse operation. Here it's a plus, inverse of a plus, it's a minus, minus 5. Here it's a divide, inverse of a divide, it's a times, times 4. Here it's a multiplication, the inverse operation of multiplication is division, divide by 3. Then we can find our x value. We're going to get a mark here and the mark for the final answer. Now, a pattern is made with shaded square as shown below, right? So we have the first term. How many squares does it have? It has 5 of them that are shaded. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have the third pattern. How many shaded squares does it have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Meaning in position number 2, I'm going to have 9 of the squares. Position number 3, how many squares do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I'm going to have 13 of the squares that are shaded. Now in position number 8, how many squares am I going to have? Use the pattern to complete the table below. That is what I'm looking for, meaning I have to find the rule first. Then after finding the rule, I substitute 8. Therefore, I'll find the number of squares that should be there in term number 8. Then how do I find the rule? For me to find the rule, I'm going to see that in term number 1, how many squares do I have? I have 5. Term number 2, how many squares do I have? I have 9. Term number 3, how many squares do I have? I have 13. What is the difference between two consecutive terms? 9 minus 5, I'm going to have 4. 13 minus 9, I'm going to have 4. Meaning my difference, it is what? My difference, it is 4. Now, if my difference, it is 4, let me find the general rule. For me to find the general rule, it is given as Tn, it is equals to Dn plus something over here. Therefore, I would say Tn equals to, the difference, it is what? It is 4. I'm going to substitute 4, open a bracket, plus something. Then we are going to choose any position. In position number 1, or in term number 1, what value do I have? I have 5. Meaning here, I'm going to substitute 1, and here, I'm going to substitute 5, because in position number 1, I have 5. Now, I'm going to have 5, it is equals to 4 plus something. Is 5 and 4 the same? No. What can I add from 4 to get 5? Meaning the something that I should add here, it has to be what? It has to be 1. Meaning my rule is going to become Tn, it is equals to 4n plus 1. That is going to become my rule. Let us see if this rule is correct. I'm going to say Tn, it is equals to 4 open bracket plus 1. Let us put term number 1 here. What is 4 times 1? It is 4 plus 1. It gives us the 5. Let me substitute 2 here. What is 4 times 2? It is 8 plus 1. It gives us the 9. And what is 3 times 4? It is 12 plus 1. It is going to give us the 13. Meaning now I can substitute 8. What is 8? 8 times 4. It is 32. 32 plus 1. I'm going to get what? 33. Therefore, I have 32 plus 1. Meaning in term number 8, the number of squares that are shaded black, they are going to become 33. I'm going to have 33 over there. Then it says write down the algebraic rule that describes the number pattern. That is what we did at the top there. I have Tn, it is equals to 4n plus 1. Then after, functions, relationships, and graphs. Now we have Jacob used the straight line graph below to complete the input and the output values of the table of a table. Yes. Then now we know that in a straight line, right? When we are given a straight line, the first number that you see on the coordinates, that represents the x value. Meaning the x value here, it is -1. The y value, it is what? It is -4. Therefore, here I have x is to y ordered pairs. It is x is to y ordered pairs. We have x and y is the ordered pair, right? But then when you look at the table here, they wrote -4. But then when I come here, the x value here is not -4, but then the x value, it is -1. They've made a mistake here. Then when we look at the statement here, state the error that Jacob made in the table. The Jacob, what he did, he recorded the y values as the x values and the x values as the y values. He made it vice versa. Therefore, it means here, instead of having -4 as the x value, he was supposed to get -1 as the x value and -4 as the y value. Therefore, what is the error that Jacob made? He made a vice versa. He made the x values to be the y values and y values to be the x values. So he made x to become y and he made y to become s on the coordinate on the ordered pairs, which is the error that he made. Now we are required to fix what Jacob made as the error. So when you look at our graph, I have -1 is to -4, meaning my ordered pairs, I have -1 here and -4 over there. Then coming to this point, my ordered pairs, it was going to be 1 and -2. When I come to this pair here, I'm going to have 3 because the x value, it is 3. And here we are looking for the x values, which is we are going to have 3, and the y value will become what? 0 if x is 3. Then I have a pair here, 5 is to 2, meaning the x value, it is 5, the y value, it is 2. Now that is the correct approach that Jacob was supposed to do. We are going to receive 1 mark for identifying the error and 2 marks for writing your ordered pairs correctly on the table, unlike Jacob. Then we are going to go to 7.2. Jack recently bought a pack of marbles. He decided to share the marbles with his friends. The information is represented on the set of x's below. So we have the topic, sharing marbles amongst friends. Then we have the number of marbles this side and the number of friends on the other side. So here we have the x-axis independent variable and we have the y values dependent variables, right? Now, use the information provided to complete the table. How do we complete the table? We complete the table by doing the ordered pairs. How do we write the ordered pairs? You start with X, you follow with Y. That is how we do. So it means here, the numbers that are here, these are my X axis. And numbers that are here, these are my Y values, Y numbers, right? Now, if X it is 1, we're going to see if X is 1. So here it means I have my 1, my 2, my 3, and my 4. That is why I have a 5 over here. So if X is 1, meaning I'm going to go up, right? Then when I go up, wherever I see a dot, I'm going to go to the left. And then I'm going to look for the number that is going to be written over there. So here I have 25. Obviously, here I'm going to have 24. So it means if X is 1, Y is going to become 24. Now, number 2, if X is 2, go to the value where X is 2. Go up. If X is 2, up until you see the dot. Where you see a dot, you're going to go to the left. Now, if X is 2, what is going to be the Y value? Here I have 10. I'm going to have 11 here. Therefore, the Y value will become 12, right? Now, if X is 3, go to 3 as the X value, because this side you have your X values. Go to 3 as the X value. It is found here. Go up. Then wherever you see a dot, you're going to go that side. Then you look for the corresponding Y value. If the X value it is 3. Here I have 5. I'm going to have 6 this side. I'm going to have 7 this side. Therefore, I'm going to have 8 on the other side. So if X is 3, Y will become 8. Now, if X is 6, we are skipping. So here I have 5. I'm going to go to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Therefore, I have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So if X is 6, go to X being 6, found here. Go up until you see that dot. Then after, you're going to go to the left. Then when you go to the left, you ask yourself, what is the Y value if the X value it is 6? Here I'll have my 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Therefore, it means if X is 6, Y will become positive 4, right? Then we are looking here. If X is 8, go to X being 8. X being 8 that is found here, I'm going to go up, and then I see that dot over there. Then after, I'm going to go to the left, right? I'm going to have my 0 here, 1, 2, 3. Meaning if X is 8, Y will become 3. If X is 12, so it means here I have 10, 11, 12. I'll have 11 here. I'll have 12 over here. So if X is 12, go to 12. Then you go up. Then after, you go this side. Then you're going to look for the number that is corresponding to X being 12. So if X is 12, what is going to be the Y value? 0, 1, 2. Meaning my Y value will become 2. Then if X is 25, obviously you're going to have 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. If X is 24, what is the corresponding Y value? I'm going to have my 24 here. Then I go to the left like this, meaning the Y value will become the one that is given over there. Then after completing your table, you're going to have your respective 2 marks, just like that. You are going to have your 2 marks just like that. But then let us use a pencil so that we can be able to erase, and have a clear picture of what the graph used to look like before we messed around on it. Now let us go to 7.2.2. Is the graph linear or continuous? Linear means straight. Is the graph linear or non-linear? Linear means straight. Non-linear means the graph it is not straight. Try to put your dots together. I'm going to see that the graph that is being formed here does not form a straight line, right? It does not form a straight line, meaning my graph it is non-linear. Therefore, the answer here will become non-linear. My graph it is non-linear, right? Is the graph increasing or decreasing? Increasing meaning the graph it is going up. Decreasing meaning the graph it is going down. But then if I try to construct my dots here, this is the shape that I did. I was moving down, meaning my graph it is going to be a decreasing function. Therefore, the answer here is going to become decreasing function. Then after, is this an example of discrete or continuous graph? Explain your answer. Now, what we did when we were explaining discrete and continuous. Discrete data or discrete graph, it is a graph that can have whole numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. If I say go to a class, count the number of learners that are there, you're gonna say if in that particular class there's no learner, you're gonna say there are 0 learners, right? But then if there are 5 learners, you're gonna say 5 learners. There's no way you're going to say I have 5,5 learners, 16,5 learners, 16,25 learners. Therefore, discrete, we are talking about whole numbers, no fraction involved, no negative numbers involved. But then continuous, it means you can have negative numbers there, you can have fractions over there, you have decimals over there. How much do you have in your pocket? I can say I can say I have 6 rand 50. So this part, it is a decimal. Therefore, continuous comes with fractions, but then discrete comes with whole numbers. Now, when you look at the subheading, it spoke about the number of marbles. How many marbles do you have? If you don't have a marble, you're going to say 0. If you have 5 marbles, you're going to say 5 marbles. So the number of marbles cannot be a fraction. Therefore, it means here, this particular graph, it has to be a discrete graph. I'm going to write discrete. What is the reason for me to say discrete? I cannot have a fraction as the number of marbles, meaning the number of marbles, they are always going to be whole numbers, right? Number of marbles, the marbles that I was dealing with on my table are always going to be whole numbers. I'm going to have whole numbers with the number of marbles. Now let us mark for this section. 1 mark for linear if the graph it is not straight. 1 mark for decreasing if the graph it is going down, it is decreasing. 1 mark for discrete for you to identify that you are dealing with whole numbers, no fraction involved, no negative numbers involved. Then 1 mark for the explaining of the discrete in relation to the topic that you have over there, which is the number of marbles. Now we are going to go to the last question, which is question 8, consisting of 16 marks, right? In question 8, it says answer the questions related to the following expression, meaning all the questions in 8.1, we're going to answer them in related to the expression that is given over here, right? Now, the first question, 8.1.1, how many terms are there in the expression that is given here? Now, this as a whole, it is a term, right? Because we are dividing, therefore, unless if we were subtracting or adding, but then since we are dividing, or if we were multiplying, whatever that is there, it is a term. Therefore, I have my 1 term here, and whatever that is here as a whole, it is a term, meaning the number of terms that I have in this expression, I will have 2 terms in my expression. Write down the coefficient of x to the power of 3. Coefficient of x to the power of 3. Go to x to the power of 3, right? Remove that x to the power of 3. Hide that x to the power of 3. Now, after hiding that x to the power of 3, what number is it that is left over there? It is 3, meaning the coefficient of x to the power of 3, it is 3. But then if they say the coefficient of x to the power of 2, meaning you're going to go to x to the power of 2, remove that x to the power of 2, therefore the coefficient of x to the power of 2, it was going to be 4. If they said what is the coefficient of y to the power of 4, go to y to the power of 4, remove that y to the power of 4. What is the coefficient that is there? There's no number, but then remember there's an invisible 1. Therefore the coefficient was going to be positive 1. Now let us go to 8.1.3. For which of the value of x is the expression undefined? Undefined, it means what? It means what should x be so that if you substitute that x value, you are going to receive error. Now let us try to look at this part. I 4 to the power of x squared divided by 3 to the power of x to the power of 3. What value can I substitute here where there's x? Let me just say, if I substitute 1, obviously I'm going to get a number. If I substitute -1, I'm going to get a number. But then what value can I substitute so that if I substitute that value, I'm going to receive error? Any number divided by 0, it is undefined. For now, in high school, it is undefined, meaning for us to find the value of x being undefined, meaning the value of x, it has to be what? 0. Now let us go to 8.2. Simplify the following expression fully. Now when we are dealing with the expression or simplifying of the expression, we have what is called like terms and unlike terms. Now when I look at this expression here, the letters or the variables that are being used, we have x and y, right? Now the first term, its variable is x. The second term, it is x and y, meaning these two, they are unlike terms because this one, it has x, this one, it has x and y. Therefore, they are unlike terms. Now, when we go to this one, it has x, and the third term in our expression, it also has a variable of x, meaning the 10x and the negative 7x, those two, they are like terms because they're having the same variable, which is x raised to the same exponent. Now, when I look at term number 2, it is having a variable of xy, and term number 4, the last one, it is having a variable of x and y. Therefore, it means these two as well, they are like terms. Now, if we are dealing with our expression, we have a right to group our like terms together, terms that are having the same variable, meaning I'm going to have 10x minus 7x because these two, they are having the same variable, right? Then after grouping those that are having the same variable, I'll also group those that are having the same variable, which is negative 4xy and positive 5xy. Now I'll deal with these two because they are having the same variable. What is 10x minus 7x? Since they are having the same variable, I'm going to subtract their coefficient. What is 10 minus 7? It is 3. Therefore, I'm going to have 3x. Then on the other side, I have negative 4x plus 5y. Deal with these two, right? What is negative 4 plus 5? Therefore, the answer will become positive 1. Therefore, the answer will become positive 1xy. Or I can remove that positive 1 and form it and make an invisible one, meaning my answer, I'll have 3x plus xy, 3x plus xy. So if you are dealing with algebraic equations, expression, group your like terms. Having the same variable raised to the same exponent, those are the like terms. Now 8.2.2. We are required to simplify fully, right? So it's all about simplifying fully. So for me to simplify fully on 8.2.2, I'm going to start with both mass. Deal with the brackets first. Before anything, deal with the brackets first. Therefore, it means I have to deal with this part first because I see a bracket that is over there. I'm going to have 14x to the power 4. Everything will be divided to 8x squared. Now, what is negative 2 multiplied by that invisible 1 over there? I'll have negative 2x to the power of 1 multiplied by x to the power of 3. When the bases are the same and you are multiplying, we add the exponent, meaning I have x to the power of 1 multiplied by x multiplied by x to the power of 3. The bases are the same, and I'm multiplying the laws of exponents law 1. We have to add the exponent. This is the same as x to the power of 1 plus 3, meaning I'm going to have x to the power of 4. Therefore, here I will have 2 to the power of x to the power of 4. Now I have dealt with the bracket. I'm going to see I have 14x to the power. I have 14x to the power of 4 minus 2x to the power of 4. When I look at my numerator, these are like terms. I cannot add the exponents because it is algebra. Whenever I see plus or minus, you use the laws of algebra, like terms and unlike terms. Whenever you see times or divide, you use the laws of exponents because exponents, you are dealing with times or dividing. Algebra, you are dealing with the addition and the subtraction. But then since the sign between these two terms, it is subtraction, means I have to use the laws of exponents of algebra. Now with the laws of algebra, you think about like terms and unlike terms. Like terms, they should have the same letter, same variable. Are the letters the same here? Are the letters the same? What is the letter that is found here? It is x. What is the letter that is found there? It is also x. Are the variables having the same exponent? Yes, it is x to the power 4 and x to the power 4. Meaning, what on my numerator, I am having my like terms. Now, if you are having your like terms, you deal with the coefficient. What is 14 minus 2? I'm going to have what? I'm going to have 12. Therefore, it means I'm going to have 12x to the power 4 divided by 8x to the power of 2. Now, since I am dividing, I have to use the laws of exponents. If the bases are the same and you are dividing, you subtract your exponents. Meaning I'm going to have what is 12 divided by 4? What is 12 divided by 8? This is the same as 3 over 2. Then after, we are going to have 3 over 2. Then what is, I'm going to have x to the power 4 minus 2, because in the laws of exponents, you are subtracting your exponents if you are dividing. Meaning I'm going to have 3 over 2 x to the power of 2 as my final answer for 8.2.2. Now, 8.3. 8.3, we are required to solve the given equation, show all the workings. Now, we are actually solving for x this time around. Now, we are looking for solving for x, meaning already by looking at the left-hand side and the right-hand side, we can see our like terms are already grouped, because 2 and 4, those are numbers, and negative 4x plus x, those are variables, and the variables are the same. Now, I have to deal with the coefficient. What is negative 4 minus that invisible 1? I'm going to have negative 3, right? I'm going to have negative 3. Now, if I have negative 3, I'm going to have negative 3x. Negative 3x, it is equal to, what is 2 minus 4? I'm going to have negative 2. Now, I'm going to use the inverse operation. I'm solving, right? Now, negative 3 and x, they're multiplying. If they're multiplying, what is the inverse operation of multiplication? It is division, meaning I have to divide both sides by negative 3. Divide both sides by negative 3. If I divide both sides by negative 3, I'll be left with x. Now, negative and negative, meaning my answer will become positive 2 over 3. Therefore, my answer here, I'll have x equals to positive 2 over 3. Then lastly, 8.3.2. We are required to solve for x again, but then now we have denominators, right? Meaning we're going to look for the lowest common denominator. How do we find the lowest common denominator? If you don't know how to find the lowest common denominator, look for the product of the denominators. What is the denominator here? It is 5. What is the denominator this side? It is 3. Therefore, your lowest common denominator is going to be 5 and 3. That is your lowest common denominator. Now, it means I'm going to have 2x plus 1 all divided by 5. It is equals to 5x 3. You are going to multiply the left-hand side and the right-hand side with the same number, because whatever that you do on the left, you should also do on the right. If you do it like that, nothing has changed. Meaning, if I decide to multiply by 5 and 3 this side, 5 and 3 this side, I did not change anything, because I multiplied by the same thing on both sides. Therefore, I did not change the meaning of my equation. Therefore, 5 and 5, they will cancel each other. 5 divided by 5 is going to give us 1. Meaning, I'm going to have 3 multiplying by the 2, meaning I'll have 6x plus 1, which is equal to 3 and 3. 3 divided by 3 will become 1. Therefore, I'll have 5 multiplied by 5x, right? Now, if it is like that, it means I'm going to have, you remember distributive law. Whatever that is inside the bracket is multiplied with the number that is outside the bracket, meaning the 6 will multiply the x, the very same 6 will multiply the 1. Therefore, I'm going to have, what is 6 multiplying the x? I'll have 6x plus, what is 6 multiplying the 1? I'll have a 6, which is equal to, on the other side, using the distributive law, I'll have 25x as the answer on the other side. Now, it takes us back to algebra. Group your like terms together. This particular 6, it has no variable, therefore it is a number. But then this particular 6x, it is a variable. It is a variable. This particular 25x is a variable, therefore it is a variable. Group your variables together. I'm going to have 6. It is equal to, take this 6x to the other side, meaning I'll have 25x minus 6x, because the 25, it did not change any position, it will remain as 25x. But then the 6x, it was positive this side, going that side, it will become negative, right? Therefore, it means, what is, I'm going to have 6 6, it is equal to what is 25 minus 6? I'm going to have 19x. Therefore 6, it is equal to 19x. I'm looking for the value of x, not 19x, meaning I'll divide both sides by 19, divide this side by 19. Therefore I'm going to have x, it is equal to 6 over 19. Then that's it, 6 over 19. Even though our answer looks like a fraction, but then if you did the correct procedures, your answer will be like that. You multiply both sides by the common denominator. If you don't know how to find that lowest common denominator, find the product of the denominators. The denominator this side, it is 3. The denominator that side, it is 5. Therefore, the lowest common denominator, or the number that you should multiply both sides with, it is the product of the two denominators. Then one of the denominator will multiply with itself. Therefore, they are going to cancel each other. Now, the last one, 8.3.3. Right. We are solving for x even this time around. But then when we look inside the cube root, we see 21x to the power of 6, y to the power of 3, plus 6x to the power of 6, y to the power of 3. What sign do I have there? It is plus. Plus, I should think about algebra. Algebra, I should think about like terms. Like terms, they should have the same variable raised to the same exponent, right? Meaning I'm going to have 3 in a square root. This 21 and this 6, they're going to add each other. Why? Because whatever that is inside this particular cube root, they are like terms. X to the power of 6 this side, x to the power of 6 that side, y to the power of 3, y to the power of 3. Meaning they are having these particular two terms, they are having the same variables, which is x and y, raised to the same exponent. X to the power of 6, x to the power of 6, y to the power of 3, y to the power of 3. Then I have to add the coefficient. What is 21 plus 6? I'm going to have 27 x to the power of 6, y to the power of 3. With algebra, we add or subtract the coefficient. We do not add or subtract the exponents. Therefore, it means I'll have add this particular 21, add this particular 6, which is going to become 27 x to the power of 6, y to the power of 3. Divide by all divide by 3xy, which is equals to negative 1 over 2, right? Now I am looking for, I want to remove this particular cube root. What number do I have here? It is 27. Take that number, 27. You're going to say 27 equals to shift fact. On a calculator, 27 equals to shift fact. 27 equals to shift fact is the same as 3 to the power of 3. Therefore, I'll have 3 to the power of 3, x to the power of 6, y to the power of 3. But then remember, you have a cube root that is written over there. Now, it means I'm going to have 3. It means I'm going to have 3 to the power of 3 divided by 3. X to the power of 6 divided by 3. Y to the power of 3 divided by 3. The number that is here as the cube root, it divides the exponents that are inside that particular cube root. Meaning I'm going to have divide by 3x divided by 3xy, which is equals negative 1 over 2. Then what is going to be my answer? I'm going to have 3 x to the power of 6 divided by 3 is going to become 2. And I'm going to have 3 divided by 3, which is becoming y, all divided by 3x y, which is same as negative 1 over 2. Now this 3 and this 3 is the same as 3 divided by 3, which is 1. And this particular y and y is the same as y divided by y, which is going to be 1. Or we can use another method as well. When the bases are the same and we're dividing, what do? We subtract the exponents. Meaning I'm going to have 3 to the power of 1 minus 1, because this base and this base, they are the same, and I'm dividing, therefore I should subtract the exponents. I'm going to have x to the power of 2 minus 1. This base and this base, they are the same. What am I doing? I'm dividing, therefore I should subtract the exponents. Then here I will have y to the power of 1 minus 1. This base and this base, they are the same. What am I doing? I'm dividing, therefore I should subtract the exponents, which is the same as negative 1 over 2. Now here I'll have 3 we have 3 to the power of 0, because 1 minus 1 is 0, multiplied by x to the power of 1, y to the power of 0, which is the same as negative 1 over 2. Any number to the power of 0, it is 1. Meaning I'm going to have 1 multiplied by x multiplied by 1, which is the same as negative 1 over 2. 1 multiplied by x multiplied by 1, the answer will be x is equal to -1 over -1/2, meaning we are going to receive 1 mark for the answer, 1 mark for being able to divide with that particular 3 as the cube root, then 1 mark for us being able to find this part. Then here we are going to receive 1 mark for the final answer, 1 mark for finding the lowest common denominator. By the way, it's very important, that one. Then we are going to receive 1 mark for being able to group your like terms together. Then here 1 mark for the final answer, 1 mark for being able to divide both sides by 3. I think this is how if we are able to answer such questions, trust me, we are sorted for the mathematics paper 1 revision that is going to be written on the 18th of November 2024, right? So this is the structure. This is how the questions, they usually come from. The first part, if I were to go back, it starts from the multiple choice questions. You circle on this particular space that is provided here. Then after, it goes to ratios, the ratio. Then from the ratio, we have financial mathematics, hire purchase this time around. Then we have integers. You can use a calculator, but then be smart with the use of a calculator. Then we have common and decimal fractions. Then we have percentage increase. Then after, we have sharing according to the ratio at some point. Then we have exponents, true or false. Simplify. Then we have number pattern, arithmetic pattern. Then from that, we have complete the table. Then finding the general rule, x and y. That is how we write an ordered pair. Then from that, we have discrete and continuous graph, decrease or increase, linear or non-linear. Then we have how many terms do we have, the coefficient, grouping of like terms together, using the laws of algebra, using the laws of exponents, grouping your like terms together, again distributive law. Then after, if you see like terms, you add them, you add the coefficient. Thank you so much, everyone. I just hope we are able to see that if it was me who wrote this paper, it's possible to get 60 out of 60. This is how we're gonna mark. Learners mark. Myself, I was gonna get a 5, a 5, a 4, a 10, a 5, a 6, a 9, a 16. In total, I was gonna get 60. 60 over 60, 100%. Let us try to study. 100% is possible. Let us try to do our best. Thank you so much. Please enjoy. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you.